Hi, my name's Katie. I am a professional makeup artist, and I am here to help you get really good at doing your makeup. In this tutorial, I will be showing you the stipple technique, which is an everyday foundation application technique. So if that sounds interesting to you, just keep watching. So in this video, as I said, I'm going to be showing you a foundation application technique that's good for every day that will give you a nice light layer of coverage. This is called the stipple technique. Most makeup artists are familiar with it. I'm going to show you how to do it. It's my favorite way of applying foundation for every day. So the tools that you can use to do this are, number one, your very own fingers. You can use your fingers to do this technique. You can use a sponge, like this type of beauty blender-ish type, whatever brand it is, type sponge, or a wedge sponge. But my favorite is with a brush. Now there's a couple different brushes that I would use to do this. You have your flat or domed topped, more densely packed brushes. They have a good density to them, a good give. They're not too floppy, but they're not too hard. And then you have your stipple brushes. This is my favorite brush to use for this technique. Now, traditionally, stipple brushes are made with a mixture of natural and synthetic hairs in them. So these shorter ones are typically the natural hairs and the center ones are the synthetic hairs. Those are used for blending purposes. That's why they do two different ones. Now, if you'd like vegan brushes so that they're all synthetic, they do make those. This is an example of one. You can see that the shorter hairs here, it still has that. And then the longer hairs, so the same design of brush, they've just textured the shorter ones so that they mimic the texture of a natural hair. As I said, the stipple brush is my favorite technique, but you can use your fingers or a sponge. The reasons that I tend to not use a sponge is that sponges are absorbent by their very nature, and so they will pick up a lot of product and not lay down as much. So I tend to like them for blending when I feel like I've got too much or I need to take some away. I tend to use sponges for that more than the application itself. So I'm going to show you what the stipple technique is. So first you will need some kind of palette. I like to use just a little dish. That's what I use on my vanity, just because it's pretty and I like something pretty sitting on my vanity. But you can get the metal palettes. Those are what I use in my kit for work on clients. Those you can find really easily on Amazon or at art supply stores. Or you can use the back of your hand. Just make sure your hands are really, really nice and clean if you're going to use the back of your hand. So I'm going to apply my product to my palette. Just one pump is way more than enough. I'm going to dip my brush, get my hair out of the way there, into the product, get it dispersed, and then I'm going to use the clean side of my palette to blot the brush so that I don't have too much and it's kind of worked down onto the brush, so it kind of looks like that. And you can see that I already have my eye makeup and my brows done, so we're just focusing on the skin today. My skin is already prepped and ready to go. So I'm going to start in the center of my face. I want to start in the center of my face because my face is reddest in the center. That's where I have the most sun damage. That's where my rosacea is the worst. That's where I need the most coverage. Go with wherever you have the most. If you have a lot of discoloration on your forehead and that's where you want more coverage, start there and then blend down. If you have more discoloration along your jawline, start there and then blend inward. Wherever you have the most, that's where you want to start. And then you're just going to make little tapping motions. So a stipple is just a tap, right? With a particular type of tool like your fingers or whatever it is. So it's a tapping motion. So I'm going to start in the center of my face. All right, we'll start on the nose and the cheeks. That's where I need it the most. And then we just blend it out from there. So little baby punches. I've heard them called kitten punches, little baby taps. whatever you want to call them, just little bouncy, tappy motions. That is the stipple technique. It's really simple and it's really easy. You won't get the brush streaky marks that I would get if I was making swiping motions with this brush. I would get a lot of streaks if I were to do that with this brush. Brush hair decided to stay on my face. So tapping motions are going to keep that from happening. So you can see the coverage that I'm getting already. And I only went back in once for just a teensy bit more. I find that one pass is usually enough for an everyday coverage. We're not talking full stage coverage here. We're talking just an everyday wear kind of coverage. All right, so let's take a look. I've got a little spot here that's still peeking through, and here some little spots that decided to creep up. So I'm going to show you how I would do that with my fingers. I'm going to dab in to get a bit of the product on my finger, tap it on those spots, and then I'm going to use my fingers, that same motion, that same kind of tippy-tappy tapping motion, to blend that out. All right, blend it where my meets my concealer, maybe a little more on the chin. So to keep that coverage nice and even and looking good in any light, and face-to-face light layers is definitely key. So I think I'm happy with that coverage. Now I am oily, and so I will usually set with powder, but you do not have to set your foundation with powder. It's entirely up to you and what kind of finish that you like and how your foundation is wearing for you. The most products nowadays, foundation products, do not need to be set. They will set up on their own. Some products still have to be set so that they will not be malleable anymore, and they'll settle into the skin and set up their properties, but most of them nowadays do not. So it's up to you if you want to do that or not. Like I said, I'm oily, and so I will usually set with powder, and then that will finish the look. So that is the stipple technique, just little baby taps, light layers of foundation. So I hope that that was helpful for you. If you have any further questions, if you need any more help with foundations, you can sign up for a lesson on my website. I will have that information linked down below for you. I hope that you have a great day, and thank you for watching.